Hey everybody, welcome to Marriaging. I am Ricky.
And I'm Nova.
And today we're marriaging through the computer.
Yes, thank you, Zoom.
And we have special guests. This is guest week.
Yay!
Guest week.
Guest week, Marcus.
Guest week. Guest week. Guest week.
Guest week or gas week? It's been gas week here at home. Perfect week for us.
You and me, we got this. Gonna take some practice. Superpower oneness. We are marriaging. Oh, oh.
Wonder Twin Powers activate.
We are marriaging.
Hey, what's up? We're back, and this is Ricky.
And I'm Nova.
And these are our two very good friends we're going to introduce to you in just one moment. We are on Zoom call, and like the rest of America, we're grateful for Zoom during this season. As we said last week, this week we will continue to pray for those of you that are really being affected. I mean, we're all really being affected, but some of you have lost loved ones and friends, and we just want to say our prayers are with you. But you're home right now. Most of you are tuning into this because you're home. You can't leave. And this episode, we want to just encourage you. It's going to help you because we've just gone through 3 weeks of conflict resolution. And today, we're going to wrap up our series on conflict resolution by introducing to you an amazing couple. And they're going to share with you how they resolve conflict.
Marcus and Tracey Preciado. Thank you so much. Tracey, you're a certified accountant, correct? Is that your title?
I am a degreed accountant. I'm not a certified public accountant.
You are also a homeschool mom. You make a beautiful home for your family. I have written in my Bible, like when there's words like peace, I'm like, oh, that verse reminds me of Tracey because she carries just such peace with her. And I love you so much. Thank you for being my friend. Thank you for doing this tonight. And my big brother, Marcus, you just started a new venture called Cielo Sports. Can you tell us a little bit about Cielo Sports?
Yeah, Cielo Sports is a new ministry that I started at the beginning of this year. The mission of it is to share God's love to and through athletes. And we do that through mentoring, messages, and media. And it's been a super exciting ride this year, a huge step of faith in our lives. And God's opening up a lot of doors for ministry to share God's love to and through athletes. A lot of fun.
It's so cool. And your website is
cielosports.org.
I'm so excited about your new venture, and I'm watching it online on Instagram and whatnot, and just being really impacted by, first of all, you're so funny, but you bring the serious and the funny, you wrap it up so incredibly. I do want to also give you a shout out, Marcus, because you helped me create the marriaging jingle with your beatboxing, and I think you're—
Let's break it down. Just break it down real quick.
Come on. You and me, we got this. Oh, good. Anyways,
That was bonus footage.
Hey,
we have you on marriaging because we really love you. We love your marriage. We also love how vulnerable and transparent you've been with us, and you are wise, and you've shared some blind spots with us, and you've invited us into your lives, and we've been super privileged to have you as friends, but we call you family too. How many years have you been married? How many years now?
21 years, July 24th. So I would say at the beginning of our marriage, conflict resolution was something we struggled in. And we're both so different, opposite ends of the spectrum different. Upbringing, from our cultures, from our decibel and our voices, we're completely different. And it took a good while to get a decent handle on it. And I would say that's not an area where like we excel in, but that's an area where we certainly made tremendous leaps and bounds. A couple times in our marriage where, sometimes you get in a spot where I describe it as like, how in the world did we get here kind of spot, right? Yeah. And to give you a visual, it's this spot for me. Like, I don't understand. I remember, I don't know if recently, but a couple of years ago, a couple of times we'd go, can we just press the reset button? Like with all that you've learned about me these last years and all that I've learned about you, right? We aren't going to fix all the hiccups and unresolved stuff, but can we kind of press the reset button?
I think more than just one circumstance, Ricky and Nova, it's kind of figuring out the 20 some odd years before we became one, we were pretty independent and strong in our personalities. And the influences that we both had, from family to traditions to a relationship with Jesus, or in my case, not a relationship with Jesus, a knowing one, merging those worlds was challenging. That stays with you because you're taking part in how you were brought up. It doesn't go away overnight. I think now, 21 years into it, we learn how to hear each other without defensive responses. And if there is one, then it's usually identified, and we give each other a little bit of space.
Is there one of you that kind of helps identify it? Do you guys have like a phrase? Like for us, it's like, are we still friends? That's kind of our identifying phrase. Do you guys have something that makes you go, okay, we may not resolve this, but we're on the same page?
But I like to ask, is dinner ready?
That's a good phrase.
And it's kind of like a clue. I want us to break bread together.
Subject change. Yes.
Could you share, both of you share what you would consider your superpower?
For Tracy, her superpowers are compassion and heart. Mine is decisiveness and strength. But you can see the natural conflict in both of those. And I think for the first part of our marriage, she was very good in her superpowers, heart and compassion. And I was very good in my superpowers, right? Strength and decisiveness. And those clashed all the time.
We didn't do this like Wonder Twin Powers activated.
The beauty of having those pronounced strengths is great. I'm even stronger when I'm less, because then if compassion is over here and strength and decisiveness is over here, well, when I meet her in the middle, then with that heart and compassion also becomes more decisive and stronger. Well, now she's strengthened as well. So we're at our best really when we're embracing the other's superpower within their own behavior. You know, I have 2 daughters. So by me embracing her strengths as being more compassionate and being more heartfelt, then how much more of a powerful dad am I? And my wife, who's heartfelt and compassionate, well, we have an 18-year-old knucklehead son and a 12-year-old son that's rambunctious. And as much as love as they get from her, how much of a stronger mother is she when she takes decisiveness and corrects the boys and holds them accountable? So stronger when I'm more like Tracy, and she's stronger when she's more like me.
Give us an example of how that played out in some sort of scenario.
Where you had some conflict.
We went to a friend's house to go run an errand. Oftentimes, I don't really like to engage in a lot of conversation. Actually, an introvert.
He's an introverted
disguised as an extrovert. So we went there, and I thought it was just to execute the event. We need to do this errand at their house. And once that happened, which took about 5 minutes, I'm ready to leave. She was kind of ready to leave as well. But since her heart was to engage in conversation, because our friend wanted to engage in conversation, right? And I'm like, well, and I don't know what, I'd like to leave now. And she was still talking. So I didn't think it was rude for me to just let her know, okay, no problem, see you at home. And I walked home, right? I think completely reasonable situation, right? And then she stays there chatting a bit and comes home later and was not too happy with me. I'm like, well, you could have come home too. All you had to do was come home with me. And we processed that. And we're still processing it. Yeah. She still doesn't understand. Going through it in retrospect.
I'm going to interject at some point.
No. Wait your turn, honey. Wait your turn. What it meant to Tracy was like, she didn't want to stay there either, right? And then she wanted me to be there and be some of that strength for her, right? And then help her disconnect and come with me.
So we had a bit of a hectic and chaotic week, and I wanted my husband to support me and be with me in this errand. He decided that he was done with it and abandoned me before the errand was complete. So it left me just feeling a little empty and abandoned. And that's not a good thing for a female, especially after kind of a chaotic home life week. And for him, it was such a minute, small thing that he really couldn't wrap his brain around why I would be responding that way. I think we even talked about this last night. I don't think you're completely
I still don't understand.
But like, no, honey, I'll be back. You don't mind handling this? Just up and left, exit stage left. I like communication. He likes to get out of the situation.
I like action.
On your way to that errand, how could you have framed a conversation that would have tapped into your strength and decisiveness and your compassion and empathy?
Honey, it would really mean a lot to me if you stand by me in this till it's complete. And it would speak volumes to me that I'm supported right now.
If she would have shared that with me, I would have stayed. A lot of the mistakes I make is simply out of like ignorance. Me, and I think this is probably typical for most guys, but I need cues. The more clues I get, the more apt I am to respond in a way that pleases her.
Being able to hear one another is really, really important. We've done a much better job at allowing the other one to have time to be heard. And we identify when you give a defensive response, one, you haven't really had time to hear the other person and their heart and really listen before you respond. And defensiveness, just for both of us, hearing that out of each other doesn't give us resolution. And so we really try to listen. And if we can respond effectively in the moment, we do. If not, we'll circle back to that. But that was huge for us because it would be conflict, no resolution, talking over each other, not hearing each other's hearts, and not progressing in a healthy manner.
It sounds to me like we are at that time in our show that we call homework time.
Homework time.
And so take it away with homework time.
Great. I would say number one is kind of, I call them the preemptive strikes. Like we've been married long enough to know what's coming, and you see that train coming, right? And often we would have just stayed on that train, knowing good and well, if we keep this tone and we keep this rhythm, it's going to end up in a train crash. As husbands and wives, be preemptive about it. Identify when you're going down that track, and you know the crash is coming if you stay on that track. When you know good and well, most of the time, you can just decide, let's get off this track right now.
The preemptive phase too, sometimes we will exit the building, go for a ride. Often it'll be by the beach. The car is really, we can process in the car. As strange as that is, having small kids, that was the only time we weren't like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we lock them down literally and go on a drive.
So that's number one. Identify, have a preemptive strategy. Number two is just shut my mouth and listen. Just shut my mouth and listen.
Both ways.
Yeah, and when your spouse is discussing how they feel, just shut your mouth and listen.
Marcus and Tracey, thank you for opening up your lives to us and really, being real and honest and, sharing the awesome things and the things that are challenging. I think that's what helps us all in our marriages, knowing like we're not alone, we're in this together. No one has a perfect marriage, but every marriage gets healthier as we decide, you know what, I'm going to work on some things. I'm in this with you, and I know you guys believe like us till death do us part. Like we are in, not only do we believe in our marriage, but we believe in marriage and the covenant that we have made with the
That's
Lord.
right.
And we are so encouraged by you guys. We love you. We believe in you. We're so grateful to have journeyed and walked through life with you. And just thank you for being vulnerable with us. And I really believe that it's going to help a lot of people in the marriaging community. So thank you.
You guys are marriaging really well, and we appreciate just having a chance to share you with the rest of our friends from marriaging. You guys are awesome.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Thanks for marriaging with us. See ya, everybody. We'll marriage with you next week. Bye-bye.
We are